Hi guys, happy Thursday. I want to talk to you this week about that huge Yanny Laurel controversy. For those of you that have missed it, and I think most of you probably have seen it, but for those of you that have missed it, it was this robotic male-sounding voice that some people heard as Yanny and some people heard as Laurel. There's a link to it on my website if you haven't heard it, and you can listen and see which it is that you hear. But while the rest of you were just wondering, well, what do you hear? I wonder why I don't hear that. I was freaking out because I'm a trial attorney and I always am concerned that jurors aren't hearing me, or more importantly, hearing the same things I'm hearing. I think all lawyers have this fear that what if the jury's not hearing what I'm hearing? We have different ways of dealing with the fear. Some of us, unfortunately, just keep repeating ourselves over and over again, and oftentimes will beat a dead horse because they want to make sure that the jury has actually heard what they're trying to say on behalf of their clients. Others like me will read tons of books about body language and micro expressions, those tiny expressions on jurors' faces that might signal to you that yes, I'm understanding what you're saying, or no, I'm completely on a different page. And sometimes jurors will actually make little sounds in the jury box that we lawyers can try to read ourselves. But we never know what jurors are hearing. We don't get to ask them any questions. And once again, it reminded me of the theme that I've sort of been talking about the past few weeks, and that is the value of questions. If I could ask jurors questions, I could say, what are you hearing? What aren't you hearing? What do you need to hear to be able to resolve this case fairly? I don't get to do that. I have to rely upon repeating myself and micro expressions and body language and the occasional sigh from the juror's box. But in my personal life, in your personal life, we get to do that. We get to ask each other questions. We get to say, what are you hearing? What did you hear? And how did it make you feel? Now, I may be repeating myself with all this talk about the value of questions, but I've got to tell you, any case I've ever won, I've won by asking questions. Any case I've ever settled, I've settled by asking questions. And in my personal life, any conflict I've ever resolved, I've resolved by asking questions. So Yanny or Laurel, that may not make that big of a difference, but there's a lot of things that do. Use questions to your advantage. You get to ask them. Go for it and see what types of results you can get. Thanks. I'll see you next week.